Can you guys see when I'm going to stream before I am? I mean, we've got so many fucking people in here. How do we get all people? Are we like actually working, or is this shit like turning on now? What's kind of rude? Are you talking about me, Devin? What? What is Am I rude? Or who's rude? Somebody says. I just want to make sure that we're like all on the same page and shit. Chainsaw pop. Here, sorry, I got my screen switched around because I took a picture of a chainsaw. How's that? Can you guys fucking see me now? I'm sorry. The Oh, he wants to eat your bird. Oh, yeah. No, these cats are wild. They'll eat anything. So I've got unfortunately I've got the lights on. The birds are going to be making noise this video. I wanted to follow up with yesterday, last night. I thought that was a pretty cool, a pretty cool live stream because, um, you know, what we were basically doing there is, I use the term in the zone. That's a really oversimplification. That's like an oversimplification. It's it's like like I've experimented for a long time with how to focus the mind and harmonize it with other things, right? Like that's pretty much my entire life has been that, like unbeknownst to me. Like little did I figure it out until I started figuring it out the last couple of years. Um, and that goes into everything that I've ever done. Like like when I was in the army, I was doing that with like trying to be really good at being like a fucking, pawn, right? Like that's what was going on, right? You guys get what I'm saying? When I was uh, doing Carnicon, it was like, well, I don't even know really what Carnicon was. Carnicon was just like a challenge, like challenging society in a very specific area, like very, very specific area, like narrow niche, right? And then not knowing how to expand it because simply like I always wanted to take Carnicon and then turn it into like general sketch comedy for the masses, and then completely challenge society. You know what I mean? Like, but in a total like a one of this, uh, like the court jester is, you know, it's a very subtle but powerful position in the period of absolutism, right? So the jester, they had a lot of responsibility because they could be killed. You know what I mean? Because they're pretty much nobody, right? Like the court Jew is like, you're not going to kill them off, very, unless you have to, and they would kill them, especially during like transitional war periods and stuff. But the jester is like if you fucking look like if you just didn't do if you made them feel bad in the wrong way, but also you had to deliver. And it's like you might just fucking not you might fucking not go to sleep that night. You know what I mean? I mean, you'll go to sleep, but it'll be like forever, right? So the jester would have this opportunity to like challenge whatever the status quo was, but they had to be a little bit careful. But uh, you know, it's a position that has a responsibility to push boundaries, and I don't really think that media is pushing boundaries in any way whatsoever. Like I think media is pretty much dead into its highest purpose. Like its highest purpose, the highest purpose of like creating is to show people how we're creative. Like by analogous example, without them even knowing. Like, and then they just learn over time, and they start to pick it up, and then it opens their eyes, and then they, and it challenges everything. Like like a liar cannot stand, you know, if you get what I'm saying. So the like the court, that's why jesters like challenge like courts, you know what I mean? It's like a fucking cosmic thing. It's not like a religious thing. It's cosmic. I mean, I don't want to get into that because I'll confuse the fuck out of you. But I was just thinking about all this. I was thinking about it, and the stream was really good because we were in the zone. You know, like so we could communicate because we were in the zone and we were all tracking. We were all tracking. I'm getting to that boathouse. Why don't you sit the fuck down? Just hang on. So we were all in the stream. Exactly. It's flowing. It's flowing, right? That's how we look at it, right? It's actually a lot more than that. And I'm gonna start to go into that now. I couldn't do this earlier because if I would have like dropped this on you in like video 1 or video 2, you guys would be like, "What the fuck is Dugan talking about?" You're gonna fucking understand what I'm talking about, okay? Like we're fucking going all the way, okay? It's gonna take a while. We're not gonna do it in this video, but I just wanted to kind of let you know that was what was going on last night. Like when JFK is writing that speech that we read last night, like, I mean, it was pretty clear, like when I broke it down, right? Like broke it down into the different parts, you know, and showed, like once you, like if you just read it like a normal, you know, stupid person like we all are, then it's like, you know, it's like nothing. Like you might as well be reading a fucking Wendy's menu, you know what I mean? But then if you break it down into its parts, then it becomes extremely significant. And there's like tons of fucking information packed in there, right? Well, there's, you know, people are familiar with that with things like, you know, the Tanakh and the Bible, you know, people are familiar with that, but modern society, like modern Western society, is not familiar with that, and it's because we've been robbed of, like, you're being turned into a bunch of fucking hamsters. You know what I mean? So you're not even aware this shit exists. You know, really, you know what I mean? I mean, we're not. Uh, and I had some questions in the email, so I wanted to try to kind of attack a couple of those, or a couple of the questions if I can. I'm gonna try to keep the stream short. So I'm gonna attempt to break these up a little bit shorter, so they're more digestible and focused to one topic. So this like before we do the main course, I wanted to talk about like Nick Fuentes, because so like I said in a video, I said I can't find who Nick Fuentes is. That's what I said. And then I said that like I searched for him, right? Like I did skip tracing on him, like in a legal way. It's not like I'm like abusing Lears or something. I'm like fucking using fucking completely legitimate legal methods to fucking verify his identity and shit. Because he fucking put it out there. He should, if he doesn't want anybody to check, fucking put out a name. He just put on there like Ghostman or something. You know, fucking human, real human being or whatever. But he put his name out there, and then he's like pulling a lot of views and stuff. And so all that I said was like, you know, there's a lot of controlled opposition that is in alternative media everywhere because there is no spectrum. Like the spectrum is fucking fake. It doesn't exist. There is no fucking political spectrum. Like that's like you guys are gonna have to learn that if anything is gonna make sense whatsoever, right? Like out of this world. So like when I said that, it made a lot of people, like people were apprehensive about it, which is completely understandable. Like I'm not ripping on you guys, okay? This is not that. I'm just trying to show you something. I'm just trying to show you something, and that's it. And you can take it or leave it. Like if you're not going to accept it or see it, then you're you know, like you're not going to see it anyway. So it doesn't matter. Like I don't need to like pry your fucking brain open and pour fucking juice down it. You know, like you can drink that shit at your own pace. You know. So here's the problem, right? Here's the problem. Like, yeah, there's a lot of alternative media, and they say a lot of shit, and they're fucking on all the time. But it's like, you know, how many times has Nick Fuentes like ever even hinted or talked about like world government? Does he talk about that? I don't really watch. I mean, I've seen a couple of his like early stuff. Once he started getting big, I like looked, you know, watched like two or three videos just to kind of get an idea of him. But like, has he ever used like anything close to like world government or you know, consolidation of government like worldwide or anything like that? Has he ever like used any term similar to that? Anybody know? So I've never seen him. I've never seen him say anything like that. I've seen him talk about a bunch of shit. He does? Wait. Colibri Khan says yes, he frequently does. Okay. Well, maybe I'm fucking wrong. I mean, I could be fucking wrong. Okay. Well, I don't know. If you want to send me some links or put some links in here for Nick Fuentes talking about world government, then I'll fucking watch them and see what's up. But until I see somebody like you guys, like this is what's going on right now is a fucking big deal. Okay. Nobody wants it to be a big deal. Everybody wants to fucking put their head under a pillow, and you're gonna put a head under a pillow, but it's gonna get fucking pressed down on you. You know what I mean? Like you're not fucking coming back out to get another opportunity. So you might, and it's gonna happen anyway. Like one way or another, right? You're either gonna face it as yourself now, like who you are now, or you're going to face it later, and it's not gonna be the most advantageous opportunity to face it. You know what I mean? So that's something that's important for people to be talking about. And as far as I know, like I don't watch a ton of media, so like I could be completely biased. Just there could be entire, fucking. For all I know, there's a fucking network broadcasting station right now on fucking Netflix that's like nothing, just 24/7 world theocratic government. I wouldn't fucking know because I don't watch the motherfucker. You know what I mean? Okay, wait. Okay, this is finally. Yeah, Nick is trying to break up the Con Inc. side of it. Think what you will of his strat. I don't even know what the fuck that means. Well, what the fuck is Con Inc. First of all? What the fuck is Con Inc. And what the fuck is a strat? Are you talking about like a Stratocaster guitar? Like what are we talking about here? Neocon warfare or Zionism. Okay. He talks about world Zionist. He uses the term world. Does he use the word world or does he say Zionist? Neocons. Well, fucking neocons aren't even, I mean, it's not even like a real thing. It's just like a fucking, I mean, they might as well like slap a fucking grape juice label on there and just be like, that's the new party. Like, it doesn't fucking matter what they call it. Okay. Yeah. Well, they're distracting words, right? Like, it's like, the only thing that anybody wants to talk about are things that don't really fucking matter. Like to give you an analogy, if you're like fucking leaning over a giant metal spike that's about to fucking impale you, like, and then like talking about everything except the fucking spike, like, there might be something wrong there. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. So when I see people that don't follow, when I see no one that I know, or when I don't find people talking about what's actually going on in the world, like obviously, right? It's just like this magic fucking mist veil that is like coming down into physicality of like, it's like manifesting itself like in your face in every fucking place all at the same time, slowly building itself up, and then nobody fucking addresses it. It's like, well, I can't. I mean, it is globalism. That's a fucking buzzword too. That's like a total misdirection. It's like It's like this. It's like this. I'm gonna explain it to you. Everybody right now in the world, like in Western, what they consider themselves Western society, has basically transitioned over time from Christianity to atheism. Or various forms of atheism, or various forms of like agnosticism, or like modified Christianity, right? And then before they went to Christian, they were, like, I mean, you know what they were before that, right? Before Christianity. So they're all moved over into being atheist and agnostic, mostly. Not everybody. I'm not talking about everybody. I'm just talking about the most mainlined general public, right? And they're like way into science, like super into like empirical, like what they consider empirical, science driven, like absolutism truth. Like this is not, this is like basically they look at like science as basically like non-falsifiable. You know what I mean? Like that's how they consider science, which is like technically that's like the opposite of science, but but that's the way that they view it, right? It's like you know it's like taking something that's really minor and then applying it to like the entire fucking universe. Like it'd be like fucking running data on one fucking like external trajectory path and then like getting a parabola off of it and then being like, well, and that's the way the fucking universe works, right there, boys. Like they just it's just like a fucking like, and then just forget everything else, like all the other shit that's like getting in your way while you're trying to read the paper. Like what? Oh fuck, the fucking atmospheric. I mean, what? I mean, I'm not gonna. It's a stupid example. I'm stupid. Okay. Yeah, I know. Everybody does. Everybody comes from that world in one way or another. Whether even if you're religious, like even if you're like even Jews, like even like every religion, like we're all on this fucking ball together. We're all fucking polishing brass on the Titanic together here. Okay? So what you have to understand is that like you are going. Everybody thinks that that's like the future. Like everybody, like all the socialists, the people that are like socialist minded or socialist impulsive. Like they have an inner impulse of like wanting to see like anything that is against science, basically like what they're told is science. They view that as opposition to truth. You know what I mean? And so they're thinking that like the future is progress, like AKA progressivism. Well, the future is not going to look like that. Like you're going to go into a fucking theocratic, like step down totalitarian world government with a sub religious caste system, and you're just gonna fucking and the people are gonna fucking do it. Like they're gonna fucking do it. Like if people don't fucking wake up, like it's going to fucking happen. Now I'm not gonna talk more on that because I'm sure I've got a bunch of Orthodox Jews watching these by now, and they're probably like offended by me saying that like, like it's a fucking complex issue, right? Because there's like not everything is fucking up and up or monolithic in Judaism. They just think it is, right? Like all the Jews think that it's all monolithic because they're all on the same page, in the Torah. But that's, there's other shit going on here, okay? And I think because it's the same end game, like because it's the same, like it's impossible to distinguish between, something that's falsified and real because they have the same benchmarks of progress, like in that system. And so it's like it doesn't even matter. It's interchangeable. It's like, well, if it happens, then that's it. That's all I'm gonna say on that. But that's like the future that the people that are like to status quo all over the world. That's their future that they're gonna go into, and they don't even know that. They have no fucking clue that that's what they're going into. Like they think this bitch is going to turn into a giant. I mean, I have my idea what's going to happen. It's probably a little bit different than other people's perspectives, and I don't think any of us really know. You know what I mean? Like obviously none of us really know, right? Like we're not God, but when I'm saying that somebody's controlled opposition, I'm not saying that like Nick Fuentes is like going into fucking Mr. Burns' office every morning and like, okay, Nick, here's what you do, and then telling like giving him fucking game points to what to say on the show. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that like channels that aren't supposed to be there or media that's not supposed to be there is stunted. It's just like it's completely analogous to the evolutionary model, like Darwin's evolutionary model, right? So like everything that's not supposed to be there gets a hard time and then goes away over time. Everything that is convenient to be there just fucking free sales. You know what I mean? Like it's just like, oh yeah, go. Just fucking yeah. Where are you gonna take this boat? Let's go. Right? That's that's what I mean by controlled opposition. So I'm not saying that like Nick Fuente, like somebody can be controlled opposition and have no fucking clue that they're controlled opposition because they just don't even understand what's going on. Like they just think all the shit they're saying is like a fucking genius idea, and then because they're so like genius, people are just like like opening doors for them and pouring money on. That's how the fucking shit works. Then the bigger that you get, like once you get to like national level, like if you get that far, like they're not gonna, unless it's really important, they're not gonna like, you know, slate you for like, okay, you're the fucking face of, you know, this country or this people or whatever. Like that rarely happens, right? Like that's like a very vulnerable or dangerous maneuver, right? It usually only happens with like nation states for like war and stuff. It's not happening for like, you know, social stuff. Usually, right? Connection, are we? So maybe if I don't move, I mean, I'm like two fucking feet away from Wi-Fi. Fucking ridiculous. I've never had so many problems. I've never had so many problems with an internet connection for like since the fucking 90s. All right, thank you. Yeah, okay. So yeah, no, these are all good points. So AK-47 says, I don't understand how a 20-year-old Nick Fuentes would be that useful of a tool unless they're trying to target a specific group of people. And this is a really good point. This is a great point. So what I'm saying is that people that are controlled opposition don't know that they're controlled opposition. They just don't get any opposition. Like you see, like it's controlled. That's why it's called controlled opposition. So like, you know, it's an opposition to the narrative, to like the main narrative, but it's controlled. So like it's when it wants to go, it goes. When they want it to, you know, stop, it stops. Like, and then it gets, and then through a selective process, it gets unknowingly guided into the right thing, because what happens is like a person psychologically, like let's say that you've never done anything, like I have a different perspective on this than I think most people, because I've started like fucking 30 like various fucking, you know, social media campaigns and fucking business shit, you know, like advertising and shit, and they all do pretty fucking good because I just have like a, you know, I'm just fucking looking at what's going on and just like understanding it, you know, like trying to understand it, and then woohoo, it ends up working, right? Nothing special, but I think a lot of people, you know, you got to imagine if like you haven't done anything like that and it's your first time, and then you're like, you feel like you're going all in. So it's like you don't want to fuck up, like people want to speak their heart, like they want to be true, right? But the reality is that the way this world is built, the economic energy supersedes morality in all domains, like practically. Like you have to have a strong heart. You have to be a strong moral person to overcome that. Like the normal person in society is not that strong these days. Typically, they just don't have the opportunity to fuck up. You know what I mean? But if they did, like a lot of people would. You know what I mean? So it's like when you're making a channel, if you're making like some social media channel and you start getting buzz or whatever because your message is like spot on, then it's like you're just gonna grow, and then you're gonna start getting like approached by people. And this is what anybody at all who I'm not going to speak about the higher understanding about, you know, like what fuels creative output, because it's a very specific system. That's like that's something we should talk about way later, like far from now. But when they start to do it, they're gonna draw in like vampires. I'm not just talking about like, I'm not even talking about totalitarian government, any shit like that. I'm just talking about like anything at all that people are attracted to. Like you automatically, it's just like fucking vampires everywhere. Like you're gonna get contacted all the time by people that are like not where you're at, but they want to be, right? And so they miss, what happens is that people misidentify what they think, like a person has an actual drop. And so they like, you know, because everybody's vision is their own, and they make erroneous assumptions about the world because the world's not set up to be straight up, like in terms of perception and shit. So they look out and they see what they think is going to fulfill what they sense in their body for fulfillment, you know? And then that's why they're attracted to somebody who like draws people. So they erroneously identify a causation, assign it to a person or whatever, or something, like somebody is creating, and they see it as like, well, that's, like that's where I want to look at that and be a part of that or whatever. And then they'll like contact that person, but they don't understand that like because they don't get the fucking like spiritual aspect of it, which is not limited to people. Like I'm not saying all this shit like I'm some kind of fucking supernova or something. I'm saying this is all people. They're just blocked. They don't understand because of manipulation, like in society, because our society is like extremely flawed. Like all modern societies are flawed, and it fucks up our behavior and shit. So because because they erroneously attribute the causation to something that they like, and they think it's going to get whatever their actual drive is, then it's like they end up being like vampires. You know what I mean? That's the first thing that happens. And then after, after they keep on growing or whatever, then money starts like really getting involved. And then what happens is you have to get to a point where you shift, like, how am I going to take care of myself and live in this world for the rest of my life? Like or right now, like what's the best idea? And then they have to shift their consciousness and model to consider that, because they're gonna, like, when they started producing things like creating, they were doing it on their own time, like in their spare time, right? And then once they get big enough to where they have so many people, it's like fucking jumping off a diving board. So they have to like, and this is anything. This is like musicians, fucking artists, like movie star, like whatever. It doesn't matter. Once they jump off that fucking diving board, it's really hard for them to go back. You know what I mean? And it's also really intimidating to consider going back. Like most of them, I think it's more of like the psychological issue of like they don't want it, like they look at going back and like, fuck, I don't know if I can even do that. You know what I mean? Just not even on the monetary side, just like procedural and the illusion of fulfillment. And so like what happens is you automatically get like pushed in the direction that society wants you to go, you know? And so like the really strong people are like the artists that continuously rub against the grain their entire careers. And like pretty much, they're not rubbing against it enough. The ones that rub against it enough are getting fucking like canned, like, disappeared forever. No fucking, they say one fucking thing that's a little too far and they're fucking gone. You know, that is like the reality. That is the mechanics of our global economic system. That is all intertwined. But you could see it for like a long time doing that behavior. So when I talk about controlled opposition, I'm not saying that Nick Fuentes is like nefariously, like purposefully misleading people. I'm saying that like I don't hear him talking about what matters, and that's the only fucking thing that matters, right? So there's no point to why do I care about something that just does a show about bananas? Because who gives a fuck about bananas? We've got a fucking totalitarian world government coming here. I mean, fuck. You guys get what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Well, yeah, except for that Zionism isn't exactly world, like this is why it's so confusing. Like I can't Zionism isn't exactly world government. Like, yes, when I say that right there, I guarantee you that there's people in here that are like, oh shit, Dugan's full of shit. I'm not fucking full of shit. I just know what I'm talking about. Like, Zionism is only half the fucking deck of cards, right? Like that's only, or it's really just like the top. It's really just like the top of the deck. Okay. All of the shit that's happening is through the fucking population, like through our hands, like through our misunderstanding of our existence, and fucking being void of anything that's like rational. Like everything that we do is irrational. Edward Bernays, like he was fucking spot on. I mean, I'm not saying the guy's wrong. I just think it's like I don't think that like I've got some caged birds over here that are chickens. I don't think that all the fucking birds in the world should be put in a fucking cage. Okay, you get what I'm saying? Like I've got some chickens over here because like that's just my. I would rather not have any chickens than just eat all fucking plants, that regenerate and shit, But I settle for just like eating eggs. You know what I mean? And that's just my judgment call. I'd like to do better someday, but that's just where I'm at. It's a fucking hard transition to get out of, like, completely, going from, like everybody else. I used to just like eat at fucking grocery stores all the time, mostly meat, you know, and it's a tough transition. So that's just where I'm at. But I don't even remember where we were going with that. The let's see. So 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 Fuentes, Nick Fuentes. The only thing that's suspicious is that I can't find the guy. Like, I am no, I'm not like fucking, DHS over here, Captain DHS. But like, I can't, like, I find fucking like movie stars and shit, like people that don't want to fucking be found. You know what I mean? Like, I can find, like all the people from 2016 election, that how the fucking shady shit going on. I can find any of the fucking people, like where they lived, their fucking past address, their past phone numbers, all that shit. I can't fucking find that shit on Nicholas Joseph Fuentes. Okay, I'm that's fine. There's not a that's not a problem, right? It's not like I'm not on here like Mr. Nicholas Fuentes need all of your information. Like, he should have fucking information security, and none of his shit should be out there. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, like, given the situation that everybody's fucking shit is fucking everywhere, completely unsecured all the time, then it's like, okay, maybe I'll look up the fucking guy who's like, rounding up the right and just see what's up, see if he's like legit or not, right? I can't fucking find the motherfucker. So that's unusual. Like, I don't know how many people I haven't been able to find, like when I try to search for people and shit, like search people's backgrounds, but I could probably fucking count them all on the hand. You know what I mean? Like, it's not very many. Well, Nick Fuentes is one of them. So Nick is either, that doesn't mean shit either. That does not mean shit. That doesn't mean a fucking thing. I'm just saying it's an anomaly. Like, Nick could just be, he could just be using a fucking different name for privacy. You know what I mean? Like, it could be something completely different. But if he's doing that, then it's like, it doesn't even fucking matter. Like, it's no big deal. Like, who gives a fuck? If he's fucking like, if there's like something nefarious going on, then it's like really dangerous, because he's pretty much like fucking drawing in. He's basically drawing in at the right time the entire disillusioned right wing. You see what I'm saying? Like, everybody that was on the Trump wagon and shit, and on the like Crowder and Crowder and fucking who the fuck else? It's Shapiro and fucking like whatever. Like, that's a wide spectrum, but like, the right, getting all fucking disappointed about Trump because, like, the rumor of fucking 69D chess can only last so long. You know what I mean? Like, these fucking people that are, Trump's gonna fucking assassinate his fucking son-in-law. Like, give me a fucking break. You know what I mean? It's so fucking stupid. And he's gonna throw his fucking daughter in the brig to fucking protect national security. Like, come the fuck on. Let's be real. So all these people that were following him and stuff, naturally, they, like, I don't know if anybody, like, if most of the people got hardcore resistant to him when they dropped Trump, but they definitely like moved on. Like, they search for fucking greener pastures, and then that's where you get like Nick popping up. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, well, yeah, he can live with his parents. I'm not saying, I'm not like, understand, guys, I'm not fucking accusing Nick of anything. This is not what I'm doing. Please understand this. Like, and Nick doesn't fucking owe me any explanation. So if Nick sees this video, Nick, like, you're fucking fine, dude. Don't worry about it. These cats keep, I'm talking about you. I'm talking about Nick Fuentes, because motherfuckers keep sending me emails about Nick Fuentes because I mentioned that I couldn't find you. You know what I mean? So I got like 5 fucking emails of people like, I promise, Nick Fuentes is fucking great. I watched 5 of his videos. He's fucking good to go. Yeah, it's just a healthy skeptic. Exactly, JP. Thank you. It's just like you might want to fucking like not put all your eggs in one basket. That's all I'm saying. That's all that I'm saying. Okay. That's it. Nothing more. Okay. All right, we got that out of the way. So I want to talk about something that I mentioned the other day. This is going to be like, we're going to wrap it up after this to keep this video tight and short. So I mentioned the other day, I talked about contrast, right? It does pay to be careful. That's correct. What? Okay, hang on. We're going back to Nick Fuentes now. Nick's been around for a while, Dugan. Dugan, I kind of want to push you toward talking about like Alex Jones. Do you want me to talk about Alex Jones? What do you want to talk about? Do you want me to tell you what I think about him? Don't feel fucking hopeless. Don't feel fucking hopeless. You guys, look, you need to train yourself to not feel hopeless because this is fucking Candyland right now. Like we're not even in the shit yet. This is gonna get so much worse. Like you can't. Don't. You need to dig deep. Okay. I don't know anything about water and gay frogs. I have no fucking clue. Now I will tell you this. What the water and the gay frog thing, I believe, what it's referring to is fucking fluoride. Because fluoride is industrial waste product of aluminum processing. And it is a fucking fact, as far as I know, as far as I'm aware, from like, talking to people in health services and shit. Basically there is a historical precedent in the United States of like industrial industrial manufacturing and for like overseas export and shit. Like I'm talking like to like supply the nation, those big ass contractors and shit will fucking take pieces of like waste from industrial runoff and they will like process it to a point where it's considered food safe, even though it has nothing to do with food. So like fluoride has basically completely spotty, like there is no evidence that it like actually helps or does anything or should even be in your fucking body. But there is like a program to sell it for, additive to municipal waters. And then what's happening is that the big ass manufacturers are like, selling their fucking waste that they would have to discard and they're fucking feeding it to you through your water and they're selling it to your municipalities and they don't have any fucking choice to buy it because they're all top down compliant with the program. So the ones that are doing that, like they are like in my municipality, not mine, but the nearest municipality, I've got a fucking well. In the nearest municipality, they don't brew their own water. They fucking buy it and it's piped in from like a what do you call that? Like a hub, like a central hub. Like there's one city that's designated as a central hub, and it fucking ships out all the fucking water to like all the towns around it. And that's how like most of the United States is set up. So all these towns don't fucking know what's going on. There's one, you know what I mean? And then there's one, and it's guess what? It's got a fucking razor wire gate on it, and they've got because of 9/11. Everybody took like a completely unnecessary security posture that nobody was suspicious about. They're just like, oh yeah, like fucking, it's fucking infuriating how stupid people are. Like they were just like, oh no, the World Trade Center attacker. We need to fucking lock every fucking thing down and put cameras in our buttholes. I mean, it's like fucking ridiculous. Well, the side effect of that in like barely on the rails here, shit is bananas. Okay. Did I even address that? Okay. So Alex Jones, I apologize. I'm getting off track here. We're getting long too. Alex Jones is most likely completely compromised. Like you can look up his staff. If you do, he's registered in the state of California. He's registered under Genesis Media. It's fucking public record, and you can look up his staff, and then you can get a little do a little Google search on those last names. Okay. What I wanted to talk about. This is what I want to talk about. I've talked a lot about contrast. I've used the word contrast, like CONTRAST. I use that word. That's my word. That's like kind of like it makes the most sense to me. And we discussed last night when we went into like a primer on money, like as a technology, not like I like green bills versus like fucking pink and orange bills. Like money as a technology, like how it straddles the psychological domain and the physical domain, and that's that's what this money primer was last night. So if you haven't seen that, I thought it was pretty interesting. I thought it was a cool, it went well for how fucking deep the topic is. We also talked about JFK's Secret Society speech. Well, like one of the points that I was trying to drive home, which I'm going to repeat it, but I'm going to talk about it. Like if I did a poor job of explaining it, I'll regroup and try again later. Like we'll try to tackle it again later. But if it wasn't, no, I did not look up DynCorp yet. But if it wasn't clear, then it was my fault. You know what I mean? So let me just I'm going to try to, what we were talking about was that I was trying to explain that the dollar, it could be any money, but I'm just going to use the dollar as an example. People look at a dollar bill as like the actual value of the dollar bill is like in the dollar bill, like they put it in their pocket and it's there. And what I was explaining to them was that like to correctly, that feeling would be correctly attributed to the relative relation of that dollar to all the other dollars in everybody else's pocket. You know what I mean? Like if you had one of the dollars and that was it, even if it's just like if there were no dollars in anybody's pocket and you had the $1 in your pocket, it's completely different relative value. Like even just in it, like I'm talking about it in its metaphysical, like what it is metaphysically is completely different than if everybody's got a dollar in their pocket. You know what I mean? Not even necessarily getting to like the psychological aspect of consensus. I just mean like the metaphysical, trying to pry apart, explain like the actual metaphysical identity of what money is. Okay, he wants to talk about Chismus. Okay, let's do one thing here. Okay, let's do one thing first. We'll get into Chismus. Okay, so I'm going to switch my camera around. Okay, can everybody see this? Please respond if you see this. If you can see this picture well. Okay, if you will notice, it is very clear that this color right here on the right is darker than that color on the left, right? Like that's fucking clear, right? Okay, so what I'm telling you guys about contrast, this is an example that is in the visual sensory field. What I'm going to show you is not limited to the visual sensory field. This is every sensory field and everything that you process all around you and inside of yourself and in terms of like physical identity, every fucking thing, right? Okay, so when you I just stare at these fucking colors, when you are considering political science and shit like that, like the same thing applies. It applies, this applies to things that do not exist in the physical world, like ideas, okay? Everything in the fucking universe, including time and space, exists exactly like this, and this is not accounted for in public education. Like I don't know anything that talks about this shit other than isolated realizations in like particular fields of arts where like, I learned about this from painting. I'm an oil painter, right? But then the way that I realized that it went to everything is because I also do everything. So like I'm also an audio engineer. I mean, I fucking do like fucking everything. I'm a musician, I'm an audio engineer, I'm a painter. I do a lot of shit, okay? I started to notice like years ago and that this applies to everything. And once I started to realize that, you start to see things that aren't there, meaning that you start to understand that where things are the same between like different domains and shit, is actuality. What we sense is not actuality, because these two fucking colors right here are the same motherfucking color. I fucking pulled these out of a fucking paint swatch fucking thing before I did this video just now. Okay, so like these are the same color, but no matter how you look at these are gonna fucking look different on paper because of contrast. You guys get what I'm saying? So most people, like regular ass people, do not know this. Artists know this. Like if you master contrast in the field of paint, that means you're a fucking painter. That is how people paint. That's how you, when you're painting, you are not making like a picture, like rendering a picture like you're taking a picture. You are controlling how contrast works. And the better that you are at it, the better, the more photorealistic your painting will appear. Okay? Or the better that you are at it, the more control that you have over what you present to the eye. Okay? When you're a musician, we're talking about tones, right? Like we're talking about, so it's a waveform, just like everything else. It's like the electromagnetic spectrum. It is the same fucking thing. So like if you are in music, what music is, like when you listen to a fucking, somebody's got a fucking loose, fucking bearing on their tire, it's going like, and then it'll go away for a second. You will not hear music. You will hear a fucking annoying ass song. Okay? But in a strange situation, if it's fucking repetitive enough, your brain can actually like identify repetition, and your brain kind of like starts, like if you ever listen to a repetitive sound over and over and over again, your brain will start to make a song out of it, right? A master of tonality, like if you took one tone and put another tone against it, and it makes you like perceive a certain sense through your auditory senses. If you become a master of that, you're a musician. Okay? Well, harmonics are different. Harmonics are totally different. No, it's different. It's not the same thing. I'm talking about contrast between notation, like sound. Like one sound to another sound is completely different than one sound in isolation. When you do them in like a sequence, like you have a repetitive sequence, like you go da 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 da, whatever, right? That's like where you start to get into like composition that like the society picks up on and starts to learn, and then it becomes like music, and then it like slowly changes over time. This is but the main point is that the way that what I'm trying to explain to you is that everything is colors. And just like you couldn't see that there's two different colors for the same colors, is the same perceptual error in everything else, including like poli-sci. And so like when you try to consider like what is going on using like what you've been trained to use, which is just to look at the two, just fucking look right at the colors and just like whatever that is, that's what it is. Like, oh, fucking dark gray and fucking lighter gray. Well, no, they're the same fucking gray. You know what I mean? So this is like, well, okay, hang on. So a person, like a fucking science person, would start to talk about color cones in the eye, because it is true that the construction of your cones like dictates this, right? Like, and there are variations in cones which will have different effects, right? But that's not what I'm talking about. Like that would be as far as like science goes. Like science would discuss this phenomenon in that regard. They would say, they would go to the biological angle, and they would go to like photons and shit like that. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying that the fucking nature of fucking space-time is like this. I'm saying that like time is like this, space is like this, fucking thought, your identity. Like you remember when I gave you the example of like the clone, of like if you just pop a clone, all of a sudden your identity suddenly changes. That's because of contrast, because your identity is dependent upon the fact that there's not another one of you that identically cloned standing right the fuck next to you. You see what I'm saying? So it's not just like, it's not a physical thing. This is the way the universe is constructed. Like this is a artifact of creation that is like nobody accepts, because I don't even know anybody that discusses it that consolidated in of a fashion in like even like religious stuff. Like the closest thing I've seen is like Kabbalah and shit. That's the closest thing I've seen. Anyway, sorry, I got bad connection. Yeah, so if you didn't know this, so if we're getting into color, you should know that I said erroneously before, like trying to describe rainbow, like the problem with like rainbow and color. I said there's like infinite color. But that's not really true. The reality is there's no color. Like there's no color whatsoever at all. There is it is an illusion. There is no fucking color. And I could fucking prove it to you, but we don't really have the right props here to do that. There's a phenomenon that is known as, you know, phase inversion, which is present in everything. Like in electricity, if you get a phase inversion, it's like you're gonna fuck up your power, right? But in like an audio waveform or just a sound, like you can see it. It's easiest to see an audio waveform on a computer because it's so direct. But theoretically, the exact same thing happens in physicality. If you invert an audio waveform, it cancels itself out. Like if you have an audio waveform playing like a sound, and then you make an inversion of it. If you played the inversion by itself, you'd hear it. And if you played the regular one by itself, you'd hear it. But if they're played together, they completely cancel each other out. The same thing happens with inverse phase, and then you put them together. It will actually, like, you can't see where they meet. Like it will make a line that like pops out at you and like fizzles your eye, like your vision, like it looks just like it looks like electricity or something. Okay. Okay. So this is, but what I'm talking about, what the bigger thing is here, right? Like we just talked about physicality, right? What I'm saying to you is that everything is like this, and there's not just a physical world. There's multiple fucking worlds. Okay. Like literally, like as humanity, we think about the world as like we're just sitting, like I'm sitting here in a fucking chair, right? So like, okay, I'm sitting in a chair. This is all there is. This is not all there is. You have a mental world, which is like in your mind, like when you close your eyes and think of fucking shapes and shit, you have a mental world, and it is a literal world. There is no crossover whatsoever. Like it is completely mutually exclusive of the physical world, other than what you transfer in the physical world through your physical expression, like through your hands and shit like that. Okay. Like when you try to create something or something. There is a third world, which is where you get fucking everything. Like everything that you perceive and grow and what we erroneously think is like when I was saying all that shit about like, I'm a painter, I'm a fucking musician, all this shit. People are probably like watching that and they're going like, wow, this guy's smart. Like I am not fucking smart. I don't even have anything. Like I have nothing. I don't have any, all this shit I'm getting from the fucking third world. You know what I mean? And that's not gonna make any sense to you. And it'll take a long time to explain it. But, like this, we did this. I also, like I was drunk when I started talking about this shit, which was a fucking bad idea. But like, don't try to fucking explain the universe and actuality to people that don't know anything about it. Like hammering fucking beer, like maybe not a good idea. But anyway, so I call this a T-square. This is actually not a T-square at all. This is a speed square. Okay. This is like I was using this as an example of Pythagorean theorem, which is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. If you don't know that, in like math, like in sterile, notation. But what it really is like a contrasted relationship between shapes. So you have like your a square, which is like a line, and your b square, which is a line, and then your c square, right, which is another line. And so like what I'm saying is that this third world I'm talking about, the one where we get everything, right? The concept, like to come up with the concept of a squared, b squared, c squared, Pythagorean theorem, you don't actually fucking view it anywhere in the world, like ever. It never fucking exists. And the reason why is because, like, if you zoomed in on this, fucking super fucking close, the fucking edge of it is gonna look like the fucking Himalayan mountains. It's gonna be like this is just like if you zoom in on this with an electron scope, the edge of this is gonna be like just a bunch of fucking, you're gonna have like K2 mountaintops everywhere. You know what I mean? It just gets absurd. It just turns into fucking, it's not straight at all. There's no fucking line. It's just a fucking relativity contrast of like illusion. Okay. So what we now that doesn't mean that it's like not, that doesn't mean that Pythagorean theorem is useless. None of this means that it's useless. Like I'm not saying that this is not negating any of these things. What I'm saying is that we are negating them by not acknowledging that there are three mutually, there's actually five technically, but we're not even gonna fucking get into that. But there's technically six, but I'm not gonna fucking get into that. But we're gonna, there's, you guys are gonna fucking learn this shit no matter fucking what, because and I'm not gonna explain this either, but you guys are gonna start waking up, and everybody's gonna start waking up, and that's a part of this whole process. Okay. Do I think everything is illusion? None of this is real. I mean, it is real in practical application to you as an existent being, but nothing is fucking real. Like this is a whole unit on itself. Like we don't need to be tackling all this in one video. I just wanted to give you an idea. I just wanted to follow up because I did such a poor expression of it in the prior video because I was so fucking drunk. Yeah, I mean, you can take it to all kinds of extremes and think on it forever. But what I'm saying is that this is what I'm saying. Everything that you assume is like fact is not fucking fact. Like even people in physics and science and shit, they know that like if you zoom into a surface like a mass solid, that you at some point you start to get into like fucking particles and shit, with space in between them, atoms. You know what I mean? Like in their theory, I'm saying, which is flawed, but this is where we're at right now. Later on, 200 years from now, 100 years from now, like they're gonna have to completely fucking alter the model, just like they had to do 100 years before now, just like they had to do 100 years before that. And the reason why they keep on having to fucking change it is because you can't fucking surmount it, because it's fucking infinite and goes on forever. Okay? It goes on for fucking ever, and everything is like this. And so when we make the erroneous assumption that there's some kind of containment that we can, wrap our brains around and put it in our hand, then we start to become we start to operate based on illusion. And when you operate on illusion, you are not who you are. You are somebody else. And this is like what we need to wake up to. And like, if you don't understand this, then, like it's impossible for me to tell you how to like I can tell you all day, I told a pretty plain explanation about Nick Fuentes, right? It's like, okay, he's not saying anything about anything that's important, really. Like it's all tangential shit. And he's not like going down the line, like fucking pinning where attention needs to go. And so it's like, there's no reason that like, I might as well fucking watch a kitten show on fucking YouTube. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, I'm not saying that like you need to watch me. I'm just saying that, I wish there were more people talking about this from their own perspective, and they don't. And there's a fucking good reason for it. Okay. Is everybody go with that or what? We'll have to go back to it later. Okay. So somebody requested, this is going to be the last thing. We are going to talk about the mural because somebody wanted to talk about it. Okay. For those of you that don't know this, 9/11 happened on 2001. Okay. Fucking Twin Towers and fucking Tower 7, all that shit. Fucking airplanes blowing up and killing everybody. And then we fucking invaded Afghanistan. And, I've talked about this in a previous video. I think should be in several videos, so I'm not going to get into that. But we do go into a deductive analysis of like who logically that would be that did this. Okay, we're not going to go into that. Hang on, stand by. Yeah.